So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 15 of our F1 Manager 24 Season 2. Now if you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch that one because we got our first double point scoring positions of the season. Fittipaldi and Hauger both getting points for the team. Invaluable of course, Teo Porcher had a very good race as well. Lando Norris winning once again. Now what does that mean for the standings? It means that McLaren are leading from Red Bull, Ferrari in P3. We dropped to P9 but it's a dead heat between us and Kick Sauber at the moment and we are looking at Williams and Alpine as our two competitors that we want to overcome. Driver standings wise, Lando Norris is on 311, clear of his teammate. It looks like the Drivers' Championship's going to McLaren. Let me know who you think's going to win it down in the comments. Now, since you were last with us, we've had a lot happening. We have been scouting Pat Fry as a potential Chief Technical Chief for next season. Chief Technical Chief? Let's go with that. We have been scouting him at this moment in time. We've also been having a look at a couple of drivers and we have offered a contract to George Russell. We have tried to sell him the dream of coming back to his home team and winning the Drivers' World title as the #1 driver. Whether that will work, we will see. But George Russell at this moment in time is currently in negotiations with Team Lotus to become the #1 driver next season. Now, this weekend, we do head to Zaandvort in the Netherlands. It's going to be another rainy race, which we don't mind at all because we seem to perform rather well in these races. It's 72 laps round here. Car attributes, high-speed corner is crucial. We're rather good at that. Hopefully that'll stand us in good stead, but you can see we can accelerate and we can take high-speed corners. The rest of things we're not so good at. Expected strategy is normally a two-stop, but as I say, we are expecting a lot of wet weather at this moment in time. That all being said, ladies and gentlemen, not too much else to bring to your attention at the moment, so I'm going to crack straight into practice and I'll see you in qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix. Final laps in Q1 then, and Hauger had a difficult first lap, to be fair, as did Fittipaldi. We're already looking like this circuit might not suit us this weekend, but Hauger coming around the final corner, what can he do? Can he improve? He stays P18, does he? Let's have a little look at that. It looks like he does. P18 for him. Fittipaldi was green through the first sector and green through the second. Could he possibly get into the upper echelons of this grid as we fast forward on as he comes around the final corner? Fittipaldi DRS is wide open as he crosses the line. Where can Fittipaldi put that Lotus car? It doesn't look like we've had a massive improvement at all. We haven't. That's P20 and P18 provisionally. We may lose positions yet. As we have a look at Sargent. Does Sargent improve? He doesn't. But both cars out in Q1. Very disappointing indeed. Let's have a little look at the Q3 results. And it will be Oscar Piastri on pole for the Dutch Grand Prix. Sainz in P2 and Norris in P3. Verstappen only in P4. But my word, look at Teo Porcher again in P8. Fair play. Let's see what the weather's going to bring on Sunday. Right then, ladies and gents, now just have a little look at this because this is where I think if we were to get another game, this needs improving because we're currently on moderate rain, right? Track water 4.38 millimeters. I would be tempted to go out on the intermediates, but it is going to absolutely pour it down for quite a while. I suppose if it's wet now, it's going to be wet in a few moments' time. I don't know. I think going out on the inters might have been the play. I mean, we do have Hauger starting in P18 and Fittipaldi in P20. Is there an argument to go out on the intermediate tyres and take a little bit of a risk? Shall we try it with Fittipaldi? I think that's probably the car to do it with. So we're going to start Fittipaldi on the intermediate tyres. See how far that gets us. We don't know whether this is going to work or not, but we're going to try something a little bit different. So Fittipaldi's going to start on the inters. Hauger's going to start on the wets. P18, P20. Let's see what we can do here.
Well, it's great to have you with us, folks, as we settle in for the weekend's Grand Prix action. Here's a determined Sainz lining up on the grid.
A second place start for them today. They'll be aiming for a podium, but could they even sneak the win?
This should certainly be a good one, folks. Here we go. It's the Dutch Grand Prix. And it's lights out. And away we go.
And away we go. And we are only going to know the full extent of our issues. I mean, intermediates might have been the way to go here. Everybody's on wets. apart from Fittipaldi. But Fittipaldi's not going to be too too unscathed with this. We will see. He's not had a fantastic start, it must be said. But maybe if he can just hang in there, this might suit him, especially if he starts changing to more drier conditions quicker, then Fittipaldi might be in a good position. But meanwhile, Hauger's had a decent start. He's attacking Logan Sargent at this moment in time. You can see Piastri got away rather well, as did Carlos Sainz. Lando Norris in P3, Verstappen also in P4, already pulling a gap to Bottas. But Hauger starting very, very well. Fittipaldi in P21 at the minute, just about sticking with Ocon. He needs it to dry up a little bit, which at the moment it is doing. I don't really know which way this will go. Fair to say, on lap 3, we have decided which way it'll go, and I don't think Fittipaldi is going to be overly impressed with us. We've put him out on the inters, it's not quite worked for him, and at the moment, Frederick Vesti's now got past him, and Fittipaldi is right at the back of this grid, so not ideal for Fittipaldi at the moment. It is still drying up a little bit, we're expecting a bit of a downpour. It's just not quite worked, but we had to try something. Was it a risk worth taking? Let me know down in the comments, but Fittipaldi struggling, so it's all eyes on what Hauger can do. Sometimes you just have to admit that you got it wrong, and Fittipaldi is in for some wet compounded tyres. He's tried it, it didn't quite work. You know, these things do happen. It's very rare we take a risk like that, but I felt being at the back of the grid it was possibly worth it, but it didn't quite pay off. So Fittipaldi will now come back out on the wet compounded tyre. He will have the better wet compounded tyre, so he might be able to gain a little bit of time back. But Hauger at the minute is pushing on in these terrible, terrible conditions. Really, we could do a red flag to start all over again. But Piastri is leading from Sainz, Norris in P3, Hauger just stuck in P18. You join us back on lap 19. We'll have a full rundown because, to be honest with you, nobody's really changed positions at this moment in time. Piastri's in P1, Sainz in P2, then comes Norris, Verstappen, Gasly in P5, Leclerc P6, then comes Bottas P7, Stroll in P8, Pourchaire's doing so well in P9 again, and Alexander Albon in P10. Hauger P18 just trundling round at this moment in time. It's a horrible, horrible day in Zaandvort. It must be said Fittipaldi was lapping with the same pace of the leaders when he first come out onto his new tyres. He's now dropped back into the 27s. He's still gaining a bit of time back, but it's looking a very difficult race for him today now. So Hauger P18, P22 will carry on until this rain stops. The one good thing for Fittipaldi is the fact that he was last coming around the final corner, so it should be ready for intermediate tyres when he comes in. Hauger's just pushing on at the moment. He's going to be coming on to the intermediates as well. But Fittipaldi in for his second pit stop of the day, and he gets in just as it starts brightening up and changes to intermediate conditions. There was another car in as well. That was Pierre Gasly. There's a few other front runners, but this is Fittipaldi's opportunity to gain a little bit of time back now. He can hopefully push on here and yeah, and hopefully get a little bit of that time back where he lost at the start. Hauger's going to be coming in this lap, but Fittipaldi now, it's absolute maximum attack time for him because this could be a crucial bit for him. Hauger in this lap. And into the pits comes Hauger, and now he's pit, as has Ocon, but a few other cars not pit just as of yet. This might be decent again for Hauger. Could he gain some positions here? And he has got a full battery, a sub 2.5 second pit stop. We'll take that all day long as well. This could be really impressive this now for Hauger. If he can push on this outlap, he might gain a couple of positions. He's on the optimal tyre. As we say, Martin Brundle always says, it's all about being on the right tyre at the right time. Piastri pits from the lead of the Grand Prix, but now Hauger, it is hammer time as Vesti's just had a little bit of an adventure off the circuit. Let's have a little look at this. Running on his own into that left-hander. My word, he were lucky not to smash into the wall there. Jesus Christ. But there we go. Here we go. Hauger, second fastest stop today, but Hauger now pushing on this outlap. New fastest lap of the Grand Prix for Hauger, and he has pushed on beautifully, and what he has managed to do is gain a couple of positions while doing it as well, so he can now settle back in at this moment in time. He'll have enjoyed that little stint, I must say. Fittipaldi still 26 seconds behind. It's not been for his day whatsoever, but Hauger 1:21.1 is some laps. Tsunoda is still yet to pit. Has he brought himself into points paying positions here, or points paying contention? You'd have to say probably not, but Hauger, another stop like that, we'll take them all day. Everybody is now on the intermediate tyres just as we're coming up towards halfway in this Grand Prix. Piastri is leading at a canter from Max Verstappen, but Verstappen fighting with Norris all day long here. Sainz in P4, Leclerc is in P5, then comes Gasly and Bottas, Stroll, Pourchaire is still in P9, Russell P10, Hauger now in P14. He's going to take some drive to get into the points, but you never know as Perez starts to attack, and that is one hell of a move around the outside. Fair play, Checo Perez. Fittipaldi is 33 seconds adrift at the back of the grid. The pace and the confidence is starting to drop because you can see Nico Hülkenberg pulling to the inside into turn 1, and Hauger just doesn't seem to have the traction there. What other cars that seem to have it is a low-speed corner. Not one of our best moments there once again. Hauger now down to P16. It's damage limitation now. One thing you've got to be incredibly impressed by with this Lotus car, and I admit there's not a lot to be impressed by, but our tyre preservation on these wet compound tyres are beautiful. 61%, we're up against Hülkenberg and Perez, and we're just starting to reel them in a little bit here as we go a little bit more aggressive with both cars. Fittipaldi really possibly could retire the car. There's no reason to use the engine, but we're not going to do that in the interests of sporting fairness. But Hauger just starting to close the gap now on Perez and Hülkenberg. Gasly seems to have just developed a fault as well. But yeah, full lap 45. Piastri still leads 11 seconds, the gap to Verstappen. Pit stop time for both cars. Hauger's going to be coming in, but Fittipaldi's in first. It's not really a pit stop that we need to be watching, as it's a good pit stop from the Ferrari guys. But Fittipaldi into the pits. Let's have a little look at what happens here. Do we get a decent stop? We do again. 2.7 seconds. We'll take that all day long. He's now coming out, but one man that is coming in is Hauger. Could we possibly get towards P12, P13? I think I'd be rather happy with that. Hauger's had a decent race so far today. He's moved forward well. We've actually probably cost ourselves a little bit of a bonus with Fittipaldi today as well. But 2.7 seconds again. It's consistent, if not unspectacular, at this moment in time. Hauger comes out in P16. We can see that's Max Verstappen coming down the start, finish straight into turn 1. Is there a couple of cars? Tsunoda's yet to pit in front of him. He's going to come out. Alexander Albon's a fair old way in front of him, I would suggest. But Hauger's got to get these up to temperature pretty quickly, push on the fuel and see what he can do from here. 7 seconds behind Albon. Fittipaldi's out, 99% tyres now. He can just toddle along to the end. But Sainz still leads, but he's yet to pit. Piastri is in net P1 and Verstappen in net P3. We've had a crash on circuit. I'm amazed we've not had a safety car today. But Nico Hülkenberg, let's have a little look at this then into turn 1, is that? No, it's not. But Hülkenberg into the chicane, loses a couple of positions, and you can see Hauger scooting through rather gratefully. Disappointing in the RB garage. But there we go. Hauger up to P15, 2.4 seconds behind Alexander Albon. I fancy us getting Albon, it must be said, especially with the tyre offset. Fittipaldi still down dead last at this moment. Piastri is now in the net lead of the Grand Prix. Verstappen is in P2, but Sainz will be giving him a run for his money. And remember, after the last race when they collided, would you bet against them colliding again? Let me know. We have got an absolute moving roadblock at the moment, and the name of that driver is Yuki Tsunoda, and it must be said Hauger's got to get past him quickly here, because it looks like Hülkenberg's going to get the better run, or is he? Tsunoda is just tying us up in knots here. We get alongside Hülkenberg, who is going to get this move done here. Hülkenberg shoves us a little bit out wide. Tsunoda defends, and my word, Hülkenberg and Hauger both getting past, and now Hauger pushing on once again. What this has done, he's now got a puncture Yuki Tsunoda. Is that going to cause a safety car? You may ask that question. If it did cause a safety car, I'd be interested to see where we will go. I'm also thinking at the end of this Grand Prix, it's going to go on to dry conditions. We might pit Fittipaldi. That's why we're just charging up his battery to see if he can get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So that's just a little offset at this moment in time. But Hauger still P14 ahead of Hülkenberg, showing P13. Looks like Albon's got 12th. Oh my word, final lap of the Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen has just gone and done this in front of his own crowd. He smashes into the barriers. It's not caused a safety car. It sounds a very upset man on the radio, does Max Verstappen, and rightly so, but Verstappen is out of the Grand Prix. Hauger now is in P14. We were just going to come back and tell you that Piastri is just rounding off his final lap, as is Hauger. Fittipaldi 2 laps down, of course, as well. We didn't get to the point where we could go for the fastest lap. He didn't turn dry, so we didn't bother with that. But Hauger just coming around turn 1, but it's all eyes on Oscar Piastri, because this man has been in imperious form all afternoon. 13 seconds ahead of Carlos Sainz. Verstappen out of the Grand Prix, and crosses the line does Oscar Piastri to win the Dutch Grand Prix. Fair play to him. We can see we've got a virtual safety car as well now, so I don't know quite what's happened there. Is that due to Verstappen? Has somebody else gone off? Piastri's got the race win. We're keeping an eye to see if anyone else is tumbling down the order. It doesn't appear that they are, but we will finish this race under virtual safety car. And as we just fast forward on, that is going to be all that she wrote. Everybody's finishing now. Let's get to the podium. And yeah, disappointing day for us.
A third win of the season has to leave them and the team feeling confident.
A sea of smiles all around. They're on top of the world here in Zaandvort.
They certainly are on top of the world, and fair play to them once again. Oscar Piastri winning by some distance there. Carlos Sainz in P2, Norris in P3, Leclerc and Stroll P4 and 5, 6th for Bottas and 7th for Pierre Gasly. And we go all the way down to find Hauger in P14 and Enzo Fittipaldi stone dead last. Lando Norris got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, meaning that he didn't extend his lead, but Piastri caught him up a little bit. He's 3.27, place 2.84 at this moment in time. 43 points the difference. Verstappen will be ruining that area on 214. Leclerc in P4. Teo Pourchaire, another 4 points, gets him up to P12. Fittipaldi stays P14. And I think Dennis Hauger still P17. Constructor standings wise, McLaren are running away with it. 611 points for them. Red Bull in P2 and Ferrari in P3. We stay in P9, but Kick Sauber are pulling away from us. Ladies and gentlemen, difficult Grand Prix that. We've had a mixture of Grand Prix this week, a double point scoring and one where we really struggled. That's just the situation we're in at the moment. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do remember to like and subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one. Ta-ra!